Nicks and bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. What's going on? We got some things to talk about today. Wait, let me get my guest in the building. Restart this. Nicks and bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guy Ron in the building. Was good. Still Knicks fans.
What's happening, brother? You hear me okay?
Yes, mic check is going good.
Okay, good.
Oh man. How's everything?
Can't complain, man. Hanging in there, taking it day by day. Just another busy one today, and just excited, looking forward to another Nick game and hopefully another Nick victory.
Appreciate you spending time with me. I know everybody got busy schedules, so whenever you can make it, man, it's always a pleasure,
Thank you
and
for
I
having me,
appreciate
bro.
it. Couple things I want to talk about, man. TNT, it looks like they reached an agreement with the with ESPN and NBC, so we will still have inside the NBA. It won't be on TNT, but we still got them. So salute to those
All
brothers.
news ain't good news.
Hey man, I think that show is a staple.
Yeah,
If
it
if they
is.
if they keep it the same and don't try to spice it up, you know what I mean. I love it.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't think it's a show that could really be replicated. You know what I mean? Like you could try to bring another cast of guys together, it won't be the same.
Right.
And this way they could get a proper send off whenever it does end. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's not like just spur of the moment. Oh, these are the last couple episodes. You know what I mean? So shout out to
Yeah.
those guys.
No, and I enjoy the show too. I'm just joking about that. I mean, I've never had an issue with the show. I thought it was very entertaining. It's comical. It just all of a sudden, the Nick hate has kind of turned me off against, But other than that, it was always an entertaining show.
Here's what I'll say. Um, there was a time where the Nick hate was coming from everywhere, and I thought at least um like Kenny Smith, he seemed to be a little neutral. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Wh- like at least they gave you a couple of different perspectives. It wasn't like the whole assembled crew was trashing the Knicks.
right.
So that's why I was able to get through their shows and not some other ones where. But yeah, Knicks and bruises, man. That's what started the show. You know what I mean? Not wanting to hear the negative narrative all the time, even
Right.
though it wasn't much good to talk about. But there's a lot of good to talk about now. The Knicks are looking comfortable out there. Um, it's been a slow progression. You know what I mean? But it looks like they turning the corner a little bit, right? You know what I mean? Like that starting five at least is putting together a stretch of games where
Hmm.
you know what I mean they're hitting double digits, all of them. You know what I mean? OG's been at 24, 24, 25 for like 3 games in a row. I think this is 2 games in a row for Macau over 20.
Right.
Um Cat has been phenomenal. We're gonna talk about that a little bit because I gotta keep putting it on record. I was not high on the Cat trade. You know what I mean? I wasn't high on the potential of a Cat trade before we got him,
Right.
and I was on record of that too. He's been a pleasant surprise. You know what I mean? Like I knew he was talented. I think he's still more talented than I thought, or offensively, and I don't think he's peaked. I say we turn. Did we turn the corner? I don't mean we peaked because I don't think we're close to that. But
Right.
we're stringing together a bunch of games where second 2 game win streak. You know what I mean? Potential to go for 3. We're gonna talk about all that. But how you been, man? I haven't spoken to you in a while. I haven't been on with you in a while. So it's
I
great to share a
mean,
screen with you.
yeah, man. It's always a pleasure. It's always dope. I've been good, bro. just continuing to take a look at this team, kind of, try not to um over evaluate them, like, understand that they got some new pieces, and chemistry doesn't develop overnight, and I know that it's going to take some time. It just, you just kind of have to keep reminding yourself it's only 13 games. Like, it
Hmm.
seems like it's a long time, but it really isn't. Like, especially when you got the other thing is one thing to add new pieces into the mix of your roster, and learn how to, function together and gel. But you also got two very substantial pieces. Mikal Bridges is a really good player in his own right, and therefore he has been kind of in different situations where he's been the complimentary player, and then he becomes the man in with Brooklyn, and now he's coming back to being more of a complimentary player, but can step up when needed. And so that's a lot to take in for him personally, but it's also understanding, how to go back into that role. And then you got Cat, who's used to being, um, you know, the guy in Minnesota. I mean, he became the second
Hmm.
person in charge with Anthony Edwards, but he's been Minnesota for 9 years, and then they built the team around him to make it accommodate him better to his weaknesses and his strengths. And now he comes to the Knicks, where we don't necessarily have the same roster that fits him as good as maybe Minnesota's roster did. So he's got to fill that void of, okay, how do I adapt to a new roster that may not be perfect for what I'm used to, and
And a
and
new
and vice
and a new
versa.
position.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
not a new, you know what I mean, but going back to the center position where he was
Right.
able, you know what I mean, to share the floor. Which again, at some point, we'll talk about Mitchell Robinson and the potential of that bringing him back to where he was in Minnesota and what that could do. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, that's a lot, and that's just those two players I'm talking about, like how they think, how they have to adapt. Not to mention all the teammates that's going to be interchanging, and Tibbs's rotation, his style of coaching. It seems easy, like it's going to happen overnight, but in a new NBA over the past few years with limited practices, because they're playing a lot more games in quicker spans. There's not as many days in between games anymore. It's not the same. It's just different now.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Shout out to Darlene Bryant. She says salute to you, Ron. Myself, salute to you.
What up,
Sa-
Darlene?
Salute to the whole chat. Who else we got in here? Double D. We need this
Salute.
win for three in a row. No slip ups. That's right. No trap games. We
Mm.
we gotta talk about it. Darkosaurus Rex in here. Salute.
What up, D
Says
Rex?
the bench has been stepping up in limited minutes. Hopefully, they play a lot tonight. Yeah, coming off a back to back. You guys are touching on all the talking points. Yeah, um coming off the back to back. Guys play heavy minutes. The previous game to secure the win. I think one thing about Tibbs, that's his first priority, right? Secure the win. So
Hmm.
I think how we look out there in the score and how we're playing is going to determine how heavy minutes these guys get. Washington's what 2-7 or something like that. So they, what I mean, they're tinkering with the bottom of the league. But again, no trap games. You know what I mean? We've been in this position before already this year, looking to get our third win in a row and come up with a letdown loss. I think we learned from that. Um, so yeah, for sure. Let's talk about these past two games real quick and what you saw. That first game, it seemed like a hurdle that we haven't gotten over this year, where we've been collapsing in the fourth quarter, or not playing our best basketball in the fourth quarter. That's kind of been a trend of ours. We almost let that game slip away. Two games ago against Brooklyn, that first one, 23-point lead, and it comes down to the end. What was your thoughts in after that game? How was you feeling in that loss? I mean, pardon me, in that win. But because I could tell you that was the biggest takeaway. Fourth quarter collapses has been a problem for us.
Yeah, I didn't even want to talk about that, Tony. It was weird having to speak about it. I think I had to speak about it on the Saturday show. Yeah, I'm like, oh man. I mean, it wasn't in the same realm, but it
Mm-hmm.
just gave me a little bit of an inkling. I'm like, man, remember we was losing 20-point games? Like I'm like, we don't need to keep that energy is bad. Let's stay away from that. But I like the only good thing about any of this is that it's early. You know what I mean? So I look at this like it's not a new team, but I almost feel like they're acting new because you got new players, but also your style of play is a little different. Even defensively, some of the things that Tibbs his principles they can't execute all of them to the best of their ability because they're missing some pieces that works for that. But
Mm-hmm.
they're still figuring out a way. And it's the same thing on offense with this 5-out style of offense. It's kind of looking at a different style of team in a way. So I like to look at this like growing pains, like it's should you ever put yourself in a position where you're up that big against the Brooklyn Nets who don't have a lot of star power over there and allow yourself to get in a situation where the game's close? No. But I do like the fact that this shows that when you take your foot off the gas, this is the consequences. That's why, like that net game to me, I know most people won't circle it on the calendar, but I'm gonna look at that net game like that was a big learning experience for the Knicks. That net game and that Bulls game. That Bulls game was an eye opener for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the Knicks learned a lot from that Bulls game. Like that was when you take a team lightly and you let them get out to a lead on you and they're running the course and then you got to fight back and then you finally fight back, you expend all that energy and you don't when you take them lightly from the beginning, that's how you lose late in games. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
so
And that's why my takeaway after that game was I'm glad we won, but I'm not confident moving forward that we've
mhm,
turned the corner. You know what I
right,
mean? That that we this is not going to be a reoccurring habit, or to your point, that we learned our lesson. Um,
right.
but you know what I mean. That next game, it wasn't a similar situation, and they didn't let them. They never took their foot off the gas. And the fourth quarter was their best quarter, and so now it's like, okay, I'm looking at the two collectively, the experience from that Bulls loss. You know what I mean. The last time we was in a situation trying to go on a 3-game win streak, maybe we here, and this is a great opportunity to prove that we here, and we're going to turn this corner with the Wizards coming up. You
Right.
know what I mean? Not saying for them to overlook them, but a lower level opponent, and going into a West Coast trip. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, you got to take this one. You got to step on the gas immediately. You know what I mean? As soon as the jump ball, you got to try to take their head off, because that's the opportunity that's in front of you. You know what I mean? But what was your
Indeed.
takeaways, if any, from the second game? Cat came back. He didn't
Mhm,
he didn't play on his birthday. Happy belated birthday to him. Um,
mhm.
Cat looked great out there. He's looked great all season. But what were your takeaways from that game?
Okay. Oh, you know what? And let me just say I will say one positive takeaway from the game, the first game versus the Nets was Jalen Brunson kind of getting back to form. That was
Mhm.
obviously his best game of the season so far.
Absolutely.
So it was nice for him for fans to see it who, it don't take much for fans to start doubting people. It was nice for the fans to see, oh yeah, okay, he's still that dude. He still got it. But more importantly, it was good for Jalen Brunson to see what it looks like when he's on again, and the ball starts going in the hoop. So he can start to get his pattern going of those type of games. Now, going into the second game, which I don't really fault it too much that he wasn't on in that second game because it's going to go, his everybody's game is going to go up and down throughout the season. But I also don't discount the fact that it's always a little bit more difficult in a back to back. I don't care who the opponent is. It's like a playoff game because the team gets to see you again after they saw what you did to them the first time around. Now they can try to do something a little bit different. possibly to kind of
Hmm.
change things around. So it always happens that way, no matter who the opponent is. But yeah, I think that they came out understanding that, hey, we kind of let the that first game get away from us a little bit. Let's not make a repeat of that. So they seemed a lot more, you know, aggressive in making sure they could get the lead and then hold on to the lead once they got it. And
You,
yeah, it would
you
look good.
you talked about doing something different, off the second game, things you kind of get to do in the playoff series. Um, Cam Thomas killed us that first game, right? 40 something points. And
That he
and
did.
and I didn't get to watch the game in its entirety, the second game live. But I rewatched it, after I did the pod with Sim and everything. And that's what I was looking for. Like, what do we do different as far as him? Um, and it looked like, I mean, OG was kind of getting touched by Cam in the first game.
Hmm.
Um, he had a different energy on his defense on Cam last game, the second game, and our doubles and our hedging was immediate. You know what I mean? So they were trying to show him two guys, whether it was a hard double or not. You know what I mean? He was gonna see two guys
Right.
every single time he touched the floor, and that was the big adjustment, a big difference. I think maybe collectively, they didn't take him as that much of a threat that first game, and they learned their lesson the second game. Let me shout out to Jason Benjamin. Appreciate the super chat. He says, I love the way Dadier played perimeter defense last night. Can tell he's learning under the OG and Bridges. Just wanted to point out our rookie play him. Um, yeah, I mean, it surprised me that we got to see him because his minutes has really been spotty. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like Tibbs throws him in a situation, and and then you won't see him for 2 or 3 games, and you can't even pinpoint like what made Tibbs go to him that time as opposed to not going to him this time. So
Right.
yeah, and it's kind of been like that with everybody, right? With everybody who's not a full time rotation guy. I'll call him that. The part time rotation guys. Kolik's been spotty. You don't really know when you're gonna see him and when you're not. Same with Hakordi. You know what I mean? I mean, as the season's going on, it's really boiling down to injuries.
Hmm.
Cat was out. You saw Hakordi. Um, um, Campaign was out. We've seen Kolik, but we've also seen them together. You know what I mean? Like when nobody was out. So that's what I mean when I say it's kind of unpredictable. But yeah, I like his minutes. I like that he doesn't hesitate to shoot. So that's one thing that we're not gonna have to teach him. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
certain guys, you be like, oh, I wish he was just more aggressive. He seems like he's not gonna hesitate to take a shot. He's not gonna be scared of a moment. You know what I mean? Miss or make, he's gonna take an open look. You know what I mean? And that's a great thing about him. Um, I like his size. He's super young. Like sky's the limit for him, and it's no rush. You know what I mean? So I just appreciate him when I see him, as opposed to like early in the year. I was like, I want to see all these guys. Now I'm just really just appreciating them when we see him. Um, Another big talking point has been like, Huck Porty over Sims. I've been one that I might have been one of the first ones on that train as far as Huck Porty over Sims, but
Right.
obviously you know what I mean. Sims is favored by Tibbs at this moment, and I got some comments that I'm gonna bring up, and we'll deep dive into the comments, and I'll give my thoughts on that. Actually, we can get right into that unless there's anything you want to talk about more about this second game, or potentially this game coming up.
No, I think you touched on it. I mean, But I think OG's play over the last few games has been incredible, and he's definitely showing this is what he wanted, right? And so
Hmm.
Tibbs is giving it to him. He's allowing him to be that guy. Which once again, I mean, Tibbs somehow you come over here with the Knicks, Tibbs gets you playing well and gets you looking like you having the best year you ever had. So
Yeah, I mean, like the title is just, it's like his comfort level. You know what I mean? Like he's reached a level of comfortability, knowing um what he brings to this team, and what
right.
is needed. And yeah, I hope to see more of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he's like, I really don't think anyone has scratched the surface of their true potential other than Josh Hart. You know what I mean? Like he's been like mid-season form in what he does. You know what I mean? Like he's nearing a triple double every night. I think he's tops in the league, and like uh definitely in 2 point percentage. You know what I mean? He's like top 25 in rebounds, top 25 in assists. You know what I mean? Like, and he's just bringing everything to the table. So I don't know if we could get much more from Josh Hart. You know what I mean? But everybody else, I think there's still more that we could potentially see.
Hmm.
Let me bring up these slides again. Shout out to the chat. I see Sharon in here. JJ, I didn't shout you out earlier. Appreciate you. Replay game.
Jay,
Um, who's this? This is these are all Knicks fans. This is not a losers lounge, by the way. This is Knicks fans. So he said Tibbs also has to put Cat and Brunson in more two-man situations come playoff time. That's gonna be unstoppable. Um that's one I've been saying this since like game three, whatever game that we finally really saw it, maybe 3 or 4 times. I think it was 2 times in a row, 3 times in 4 possessions. And then
hmm
we don't really see it that much. Um and I had questions about this as to why. And I'm wondering if I agree with the statement. Like it could be a unstoppable threat in the playoffs. I'm wondering if Tibbs is saving it. You know what I mean? Like why isn't it being utilized to its capacity? You know what I mean? Because you could still
yeah,
have the other guys playing off of that. It doesn't have to be a two-man game in that sense. Or maybe we're seeing it and we're not even realizing it. And I'll look into that as well as I watch the games. Like how much are we seeing it, but they're playing off of it and not necessarily utilized. But what's your thoughts on that?
on
The two-man
for,
game and
yeah,
how much is being utilized?
I feel like the Knicks always do some variation of the two-man game, but I mean, do we mean specifically more of the pick and roll or
Mhm.
just two-man game in general?
Pick and roll is probably that's what I always mention
Right.
specifically. So that's what I was assuming he was saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So
'Cause we asked for that with Randall and Brunson, and we didn't see it much.
correct. Correct.
And
What
it
we
could have
saw,
been.
yeah, what we
No,
saw
I
was the
always
dribble
saw the fake on
handoff.
the track. Exactly.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe Tibbs is just holding on to it. I think Tibbs just doesn't feel, at least right now. Maybe he did earlier, but maybe he was still trying to work on other things with the team. I just think maybe Tibbs feels like he doesn't need to go to that yet, because he likes the potential of how the Knicks can move the ball and get an offense flowing in that way. Like what we noticed in the last game, Knicks had 30 assists or whatever it was. You know, moving the ball the way they move it looks great, and I think he wants that to be the staple. So he doesn't really want to affect that if he doesn't have to. And also, I think that it depends on the defense. I think when we face a defense that is taking us out of our comfort zone, whatever we become good at, and they start making it difficult for us, I think that's when you start to see more of the pick and roll going. And I also think that the pick and roll is a little, it takes some time because, Cat and Brunson still look like they have to figure out how to work best together on the court. We still see them. The last game I didn't notice it so much, but in previous games, I still see them like working off of each other and then winding up in the same area, like like where one shouldn't be there. But oh wait, it's like
It was
they still figuring it out.
right. And it was real bad early.
Oh yeah, it was definitely really bad early.
That first game, they was literally bumping into each other.
Right, right.
Let's see what else I got over here. Um, it says forget Brunson and Cat. OG has turned into a healthy version of Kawhi Leonard. Um, I think that's a stretch, but there's definitely similarities. There's been similarities for years now. Um, Injuries included. you know,
That's a
knock on
fact.
wood. Knock on wood. That was a joke. You know,
Yeah, cut that out, Tony.
but yeah,
No, I
that's
could
kind
see
of
it.
been
I
the
could see it. No, I could see it. I mean, it's relevant in the style of game that they both play. Height
Mhm.
wise, I mean, Kawhi's taller, but the style of game that they both play, it is it is relevant, and it's interesting that they did both play together. He got to see his game and see how
Mhm.
he gets stuff done. So it
More
definitely makes sense.
definitely more cerebral.
Hmm.
Not that loosey goosey as Clyde would say with the dribble and all that. Get to their spots and rise and shoot. I mean, it's been a comp. You know what I mean? Like for years. So
Hmm.
I ain't killing the guy. Plus he's my namesake. So
Hey,
Cash Cruz, he says, I'll take back every I take back every negative thing I ever said about Cat. I swear. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, bro. Like even I have to admit it. Like I was part of that soft narrative prior to him getting here. I never said it once the trade was made, but when I was saying I don't want him and my reasons why, that was one of the things I listed. I gotta admit it because it's documented. Somebody could find it and use it against me. So so I would keep it 100.
right.
But yeah, he's surprised me. Has he surprised you? And what was your thoughts pre-trade, like in the interest in him pre-trade, during the trade, and how you feel now? Has it changed any?
Yeah, I give Cat a lot more credit for his aggressiveness and his motor. That I was not. I didn't really put put it into reality with thinking about him, because yes, I heard all the narratives about him being soft and all that other stuff, and I didn't, it's not like I ran with it, but I'm just like, okay, if that's the case, like I didn't pay attention to Cat. That I don't watch Cat on day in and day out to see if he actually is soft or how he actually plays. We see the highlights,
Hmm.
and the special things that he can do on a certain night, but to watch him play is to really understand the dude has a high level motor. He's very aggressive. He's got some quickness to him, and that's what helps him to be a special player. That, and the fact that his shooting touch is unbelievable. Just even when he shoot, it's like the flick of the wrist. It's so soft, and it's like I'm surprised that this dude has that type of touch. So that
Yeah,
is surprising to when you actually can see it on a day in and day out. It's special to watch. Flip side of it, his defense is what I thought his defense would be, but I'm okay with it because I understood. I take a player for who they are, so I wasn't expecting. I expect he'll be a little better throughout the season, but I don't. He's not a great defender, so it is what it is.
yeah. I think he could get by if he could stop fouling. You know what I mean? Because I think his presence defensively is not a detriment unless it's fouling. You know what I mean? Like I think we could still get by. He's 7 foot. Utilize your size. He's not really a deterrent. Nobody's scared to go to the basket on him or anything like that. But as long as if he could just cut the silly fouls out and then utilize the other ones, you know what I mean, at the rim, I think it won't even be a question because I don't even think he's as bad as advertised
Mm-hmm.
or as the doubt the worst things people say about him. You know what I
Right.
mean? But he's definitely not a plus defender.
Yeah.
So
And the foul stuff is ridiculous, bro. He you got like watching him is almost like he can't help himself. He got to cut that out, bro. He got to cut that out.
yeah, like dude clearly passed you already. Like sometimes you gotta give that let that one go. You know what I mean? Get the stare down or whatever you're gonna get from the coach, and make the next one. You know what I mean? Because we've also seen him block shots. You know what I mean? Like so,
Right.
it's not like she's the non-threat at all. So I think he'll be all right. But yeah, man, I definitely I take back all the negative things I said about him. But I agree.
Yeah. And you know what I think that should happen is it won't really, really, really happen until Mitch comes back. Knock on wood. Hopefully Mitch comes back soon. Um, but he should learn how to be sneaky with his defense. You know, obviously it's tough right now, but
Mm-hmm.
when we actually get a rim protector or someone who imposes their will comfortably, whereas the other team knows, hey, that person is there. We got to watch how we move. That's when you pounce. You know, that's when Cat, no pun intended, should really be like lurking, you know what I mean? So when guys go like if they try to challenge Mitch or they don't try to challenge Mitch because he's there and they try to challenge the next closest person to him, like they change their trajectory of how they're moving, that's when you want Cat coming from behind and getting that sneak block, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or coming out of nowhere and like, oh, 7 foot in my face, wow, because they're not thinking about him, they're worried about Mitch.
Yeah,
That's when he can start becoming a demon on defense, like cleaning up
help defender.
the
You know what
help
I mean?
defender stuff.
Or,
Yep.
or side, you know what I mean, coming from the weak side or whatever.
Hmm.
I agree 100%. I think that's why Minnesota maintained being the best or one of the best defensive teams. You know what I mean, along with him on the court still. And I did see a stat that pointed out that he guarded Jokic the best in that playoff series. Um, like even better than Gobert. Like his numbers against or Jokic numbers against him were pretty bad. So
Mm,
I think it also goes down to individual matchups. Sometimes you don't really want him guarding um a guy that's quicker and is a lot more mobile.
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
but
fair.
the post up center or the slower centers that may even still have similar skill sets, I think he'll have a better shot against. It's really him in movement that's where it's bad. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
when it's just like a one-on-one situation, I'll take my chances if he's not gonna blow it with a foul.
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, who we got here? Ego smacking. He said anyone on Tibbs for Hearts 46 minutes. Didn't watch the game, third quarter. OG clearly. Oh, okay. Anyone
Oh,
on
I see what you're
Tibbs for the
saying.
36 minutes didn't watch the game. And I did see this when I watched the game the second time. In the third quarter, OG clearly pointed at Hart to sub out, and Hart refused and sent Dadier. Oh, I did see that. I did see that. In the third quarter. That's a fact. And I
He
had
loves
I
to
had
play,
I had
man.
I,
He loves
I
to
had to
play.
I had to screenshot that one because I was like, yo, I did peep that, yo.
He
I
loves to
d-
play, man. And plus, he's been playing well lately. And also, he's still trying to make up for The thing with Josh Hart is, Josh Hart he be in social media, so he knows what
Yeah,
everybody be saying. He ain't trying to let people run with the wrong narrative. Because I remember, I forgot what was said. Oh, it was when he was struggling, right? When he didn't know his role on the team
it was before the first game of the season, after
before.
the preseason.
Yeah, yeah, and then even when the comments came out, and I think he made a comment. Man, y'all think I'm soft? I started laughing when I heard him say it. So I think he took that to heart, and he's like, yeah, no pun intended, once again. But I think he just said, you know what, nah, I gotta get out there. And then after the Bull game, after fouling this dude in the last seconds, I think he
Mhm.
really was like, oh nah. Yeah, I got to step up and get back to my game, man. And the next two games, he almost had triple doubles. So
Honestly, he's been the most consistent. Like I said, he's in mid season form. He's like the only one that's it looked like it's the middle of the season, you know what I mean? And he already got his stride of rhythm. And that was from the beginning, you
right,
know what I mean? Um but yeah, shout out to Eagles Swaggin because I definitely peeped that. I'm gonna go with the other name, Rome Rob 76. Sims did do well switching last night, using his athleticism on smaller players. Gotta give him props. You know what? Sims actually, I mean, he's been solid at rebounding. That's been his only like plus stat, I think, all year. But
hmm
I think since Purdy had that big game, Sims been he's been playing better. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't done much more. You know what I mean? But you can see him try. You see him try a Euro step one game. He ain't really go nowhere, but he,
right,
he
right.
he tried it. I was like, oh snap! You know what I mean? You see him go back up for some putbacks now instead of just looking to give the ball up and find somebody immediately. Um, and yeah, man. I don't know. And Tibbs definitely, you know what I mean? He values him.
He does. He does. I will say, I've been tough on the young man because I've been like, this is year four. At what point do you do something different? At what point do you take that next step? Like everybody else that the Knicks drafted that we thought had potential to do something, at some point they showed us a little more. I mean, yeah, they may not even be here on the squad, but at some point we saw something different. Like, oh, okay. I never really felt like I saw that from Sims, but I'm not going to give him credit for stuff I haven't personally noticed because I haven't been paying attention to him as much because he just doesn't do anything to make me pay attention, in my opinion.
Hmm.
However, the last game against the Nets, I did notice he looked that was the best I've seen Jericho Sims in a long time, as far as the way he was moving on the court,
Yep.
defensively,
Defensively.
rebounding.
Yep.
He just I was like, okay, all right, I'm seeing a little something. Okay, yeah, so we'll
Uh,
see.
Curly said Brunson sees the most double teams of any player in the league. I think there is statistical thing that backs this up, like a stat that backs this up.
Hmm
Um, and honestly, I mean, just watching the games, you could see he is double teamed on a high percentage of the times he has the ball. It feels like every possession at some point he's receiving a double team. Um,
And or they're putting the taller defender on him.
oh yeah, that's I mean they're starting with
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
starting with the big defender on him, and I don't think I think the plan is still to go out there and double team him, even with the tall defender wing whoever it is, but I've I felt like I've noticed a significant struggle from Brunson this year, um, in field goal percentage. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. Even like when he has a good game, but I felt like his numbers weren't right to where they should be, and it just threw me for a loop. What's your
Mhm.
thoughts on that? I'm a deep dive. more in a second. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think um I think Jalen is just he is kind of got he's doing too much thinking out there. You know what I mean? I think he's just not playing and letting the game come to him naturally the way it has. It's been working for him. I think he's doing a little too much thinking out there. I think he realizes that he's the captain of the team and feels like, you know, I have to do this or I have to do that or I got to be the answer. I got to be this. It's not what it has to be. He just has to continue to play the same way he's always played, but trust his teammates. And that doesn't always necessarily mean he has to pass to players for them to get going. He just has to move the ball. If
Hmm.
someone is open, he's got to get them the ball so they can do something with it. But sometimes it's not about him being the guy that gets the assist. It's about him getting the ball out of his hands so that
Hmm.
the ball can move and find an easy opportunity. That's all it is to me. He's got to trust his teammates, right? And understand that his time is always going to be there, and he's going to still fulfill that number one thing that we need from him. It's going to happen. It's always a moment. We saw it the other day. Cat had to sit a game. We needed Jalen Brunson to step up. He drops 37 like there's like nothing. You know what I mean?
Efficient.
That's it. That's what we need. I just think that I think we don't try to make too many excuses, but life is life, man. The dude did get hurt in that Indiana game. He did go out. He did have to come back and rehab and get himself right to start the season. But ever since the season started, he just never quite looked right. And I just think it's all about just kind of getting out of your own head a little bit and understanding that things can work out the same way they worked before. It'll get there. But I will
You know,
say, I don't want to be too long winded about it. But I have one more thing to add. But
that
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say the thing that got me with him is the missing the shots at the rim. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's been the biggest. Like I don't. I mean, you could miss shots. That's gonna happen. That's whatever. It's those at the rim that's got me like yo, because it's been like you know a couple of games that has happened, and sometimes multiple times in a game. But go ahead.
No, no, no. But that's good, Tony, because that shows you something's not quite right. Because he don't do that. He shoots in the paint for a 6'1", 6'2" guard. He shoots around 50%. Like for him to be missing gimmies like that, that something just isn't quite right. So I don't like it. Like I don't. It's not too much of it. But I heard a little of the rumblings. I saw something earlier today when I woke up this morning. Somebody on X was like, I hate saying that. It sounds weird, somebody on X. But
I
anyway,
don't understand.
uh, yeah. Somebody was like, "Man, when are we going to have the conversation? Like, is Brunson really that dude anymore?" I'm like, "What? Yo, what happened here? It's 13 games in. Do we forget what Dante DiVincenzo looked like when he first became a Knick? You know how many layups my man was missing? I was like, what happened here?" But by the end of the season, were we talking about Dante missing layups? No, you were like, Dante's in his bag. Oh, yo, Dante scored 30 the other day. Man, I didn't know Dante could do. That's what we was talking about. Sometimes it just takes a little moment for guys to get right, and weird stuff happens. I'm sure Jalen Brunson, knowing how efficient he is, he's like, "What the hell is going on here?" So,
um,
yeah,
East Blue Drew said those and the free throws. I think the free throws by the end of last year, I was, I felt like that was just a thing with him. Like he gonna miss. Yeah, like, he's still gonna end up having a good percentage, 80 plus. You know what I mean? But he's gonna miss a free throw or two. Yeah, not usually two, but he's gonna miss a free throw in the game. You know what I mean? It's just whether that particular one's gonna come back to get us or not.
right,
Um,
right. I think he's fine. I think he'll be fine. But I'm only referencing this because I know people watch him. I don't watch him because I don't like him. I think the show is it's too much for shock value. Gilbert Arenas' show. Gilbert Arenas said something like if he was, doing something groundbreaking, I didn't like it. But the point of it was the intent is correct, right? He says that, you know, uh Cat and Jalen Brunson should take a page out of like Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan's book, something like that. I
So-
forgot who he referenced.
somebody in the chat earlier had it said it as well. Shaq and Kobe.
Oh,
Um,
Shaq and Kobe. That's it. Yeah.
but
Shaq and
but
Kobe.
did he
So basically,
go ahead.
what he said was they should trade off, right? Like Kobe could I mean Kobe Shaq would get like the first and the third
Three.
quarter, and then Kobe would get like 2 and 4, right? To close everything out. And but I'm not mad at Gilbert Arenas for saying that, right? There's nothing wrong with the state. I'm mad that Gilbert Arenas is acting like it's something that the Knicks are not aware of and not
Mhm,
something that they've done in the past. That is what they used to do with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. They
mhm.
haven't really done it right now with Cat, but he could have easily said, if you paying attention, the Knicks just need to go back to that same style of play they did with Randle and Brunson, where Brunson takes the later part of the game and Randle gets off early and he gets the first quarter. That's all you got to say. That's what it is. Don't try to make it seem like you're reinventing the wheel with the Knicks. The Knicks know that that's a style of play they could do, and they've done it, and it worked. I
And,
don't know why they haven't tried to do it yet with Cat and Brunson, but maybe they're just giving it some time.
and I think the first 3 games, after the first 3 games, it's been different. You know what I mean? Like Cat had 8 shot attempts one game, nine another, and a lot of the narrative early was, oh, Brunson got to give Cat the ball. You know what I mean? I know we had a discussion on my channel, whether or it might have been Queen's channel. Shout out to Queen, by the way. Um, where like is who's the onus on? Is it on Brunson to get him the ball, or is it on Cat to demand the ball? You know what I mean? Because there was times where, you know what I mean, like if he had a small guy on him, this first 3 games I'm referencing, you know what I mean, like he wasn't asking for the ball, saying yo, you know what I mean, and then right after that, game 3 or game 4, I think it was, you know what I mean, you see him asking for the ball, you know what I mean. So I think it goes both ways, you know what I mean.
Right.
But I thought early on, I think since then Brunson's been making a conscious effort
No, I
to,
agree.
you know what I mean, get Cat the ball early.
But I think, I agree. I definitely think Brunson has been trying much more to get Cat involved. And I think
Amber.
yeah, and I think I saw we talked about it on the Saturday show that Brunson has been giving Cat 28% of his passes, and Cat has been like super efficient. He's been scoring like 50+% off of those passes.
Mhm.
So but I do think that you know, it is something that they probably should think about, only for the fact that I think the amount of touches that Brunson is used to getting helps his rhythm. So Cat needs to get his own, level of touches. So why not feed the pig, in different areas? You know what I mean? Go to Cat first, because I do think that the Knicks, even though Brunson is the number one option, I do think they should try to play through Cat each game and kind of set the bar, because Cat is almost unstoppable when his shot is going. Play through him, see how the defense adjusts, and then everybody can eat off of that. Because once he starts going from inside outside, the lanes are open, the passing is open. Like, it's so much more they can do. So I think they should definitely consider doing that.
Yeah. You see what I got up there right there?
Oh man, look at that. Oof.
I'm gonna start with this Jalen Brunson in the start of last season, first 13 games, and this season, and it's almost identical. And
It's funny.
this year he's actually playing better, and it's funny that I had to look at this to really realize how much things change. Um, you know what I mean, from the start of the year to the end of the year, and it feels like Brunson's not playing up to par, and this is exactly how, if not even a little better than he's started the year last year. So
Yeah, this
I
is
think
crazy, Tony. This is a fantastic stat to put up there. This is incredible.
so and then shout out to Brunson Muse, says no need to overreact. The heat up is coming soon, and I ain't gonna lie, this kind of calmed me down. I wasn't on like any panic level, like high panic level, but this definitely calmed me down. Like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? Like that's interesting. 24.3 points, first 13 games, 24.2. You know what I mean? 6.8 assists. That's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like this is what we wanted. That might be like career best, to be honest. So far in assists, and I think he could get better there. And 46 from the field, which you know what I mean. It's that's decent. You know what I mean.
It
That's
is
decent. And again, you get them numbers at the rim back to where they're supposed to be. That'll jump up.
correct.
And then I mentioned the first 3 games with Cat, and this is the last 10. And I mean, the man has been, ever since he started taking more than 8 and 9 shots a game, 25 and 12 and 4, 28, 8 and 4, 46, 10 and 3. You know what I mean? And as you can see, the list goes on. Um,
This is crazy, Tony. Just think about that. Look at how we judge Jalen Brunson. That these numbers is like mediocre to us because he's been so good, yo. That's crazy.
and the way he closed the season, you know what I
Yeah, I
mean? Like
mean,
so he
he was on
like
another level.
so that's you know what I mean. That's what's kind of
It's
fresh in
stuck in
our
our
mind.
brains. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
The way he closed in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Or the way he played in the play. Like he had to level up to that to reach that level. You know what I mean? But yeah, like so if he's still gonna level up, we might still see something we haven't seen from Brunson. You know what I mean? If he's already plateaued where he was last year, and last year we was happy where he started. You know what I mean? We hadn't seen the
Right.
next level.
You're correct. Now,
so
now it's like, yo,
so now the
come on,
perspective
dog.
is there. Like, oh, now we just expecting him at his peak. Like, let him rev up. You know what I mean? Don't microwave it. Let it slow cook.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree, man. This is great. A great stat. Great to see, and it helps people put things in perspective. This is the equivalent of what I was saying with regards to the Knicks and their winning. When we were at the 12 game mark, we were 6-6. Last year, the Knicks were 7-5 at 12. That's
Mm-hmm.
not that big of a difference. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to put things in perspective. We gonna
In
be all
perspective. Absolutely. I think this might be everything. Let me see. Oh no. All right. Did I mention this one? Sims had a
no, I
good
don't think
game.
so.
he felt that pretty heat. Good to light a fire under him. I agree with that 100%. Because like I said, since Huckporty had that game, you know what I mean. Sims came out with a different type of energy,
Mhm.
and the previous time Huckporty had a game, you know what I mean. Sims came back with a little bit more energy, and I think he's aware of the situation. You know what I mean? Like, so I think he knows Tibbs is gonna give him every opportunity. You know what I mean? But like I said it from preseason. You keep leaving that door unlocked, Porty go Porty gonna come right in. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And
come on.
There's a Ryan. He said, I heard coach say he loves Sims defense, switchability, and screens he sets. Don't look for Huck anytime soon.
I mean, he might be right on that. So, I don't know, man. Something about rookies. I don't know. It is what it is. But hey, we've been seeing a little Pac home, so you never know. Just Huck needs to understand that, and I think Huck would respect it as any player will respect it. Tibbs is really giving Sims the opportunity to show and prove, right? Because there's no second chances, right? At this point, once it's 4 years, if Sims gets relegated to the bench again, and we don't even have Mitch here, then Tibbs will just keep him there forever. He's just going to stay roasted on the bench. Like Tibbs is giving him a chance to finally like put up a shut up. Like this is what we need from you. This is what we expect. Go out there and show me something. And I think he's basically telling you and telling Sims, I'm giving you every opportunity
Yeah,
to succeed.
but
So
that's what I meant. Like I meant literally. Like Tibbs is telling him, like pulling him to the side. You know what I mean? This is yours to lose.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Um, and shout out to Huck Porty though, because the first time he had like a semi good game, and we were all screaming he needs to play. Um, the very next game he didn't play. You know what I mean? Like it was like Tibbs doubling down and letting the fans know, nah. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna take more than
Mhm.
that. And then he didn't play for a couple games, and then when he did play, it was a shaky performance, right?
Right.
Now this time around, because this time around he had a big layoff in games that he didn't play, but he came out and showed out immediately. Got heavy minutes, deserved it. I don't remember what the stat line. I think it was like 7 points, 4 blocks. Um, it wasn't. I don't think it was double digit rebounds. But great showing from him. You know what I mean? 30 plus minutes. Yeah, I think that's the good thing about Huck Porty. Like he took that lesson from Deuce. You know what I mean? And now he understands it. You know what I mean? You gotta be ready when your number's called. That's how you get more time. You could have 3 days off. You know what I mean? Three did not plays. Coach's decision. That
Mhm.
fourth game, you gotta be ready. You know what I mean? You can't come to the game in your warm ups with your uniform not on underneath.
That's a fact.
Shout out to Parrish Duggar. Appreciate you with the super chat. He said it's hard following the team with fans first 20 game. Um, yeah, that's funny because we'll start off before the season and talk about the importance of the first 20 games, and we're not gonna judge them until 20 games. And then we lose to
Never
Boston
fails.
bad.
It never fails.
and we
Never
like
fails.
and we like the world is falling. Oh shoot. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. It's hard staying contained night in and night out. You know what I mean? Watching the Knicks, especially based off what we've been through. That PTSD is real. I say that all the time. You know what I mean? If that's what you're invested in as a fan, then you know what I mean. It affects your day to day. You
Mhm.
know, it affects how you get a good night's sleep. You know what I mean? If the Knicks win and how they won, or if they lost and how they lost. You know what I mean? Some nights is, but you're right. It's hard for us to contain ourselves. Is what I'm saying. After a great win or a bad loss, or anything in the middle.
That's a
Um,
fact.
I did see a stat out here. I thought I captured it, but apparently I didn't. But it had um Sims as one of well, actually the best rim protector on our team, but one of the best in the league, by the numbers. Trying to see if I could find it. Yeah, I can't. Oh, wait. No, I can't find it. But that was interesting to me, considering he's not really a shot blocker, but apparently his contests are good,
Mm.
but by the numbers. Um, we got Washington tonight. Any thoughts on that game other than it not being a trap game?
I don't think it should be because we just came off playing. Was it Atlanta? No, was it Atlanta and then the Bulls?
We lost both of those.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was Atlanta and then the Bulls because we played Philly before Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think it's a trap game because just the level of competition. I mean, we're talking Atlanta, then the Bulls, then the Nets back to back, then Washington. It shouldn't be a downward like spiral. Like you know what I mean? It should be similar type opponents.
So we turn the corner then.
Not yet.
I
Because
mean, because
I don't think the Nets or the Wizards are the type of teams that can help us turn the corner. I
when I
think we
say
need to.
when I say turn the corner, I mean beating the teams we're supposed to beat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
Well,
like
yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
saying. Coming off that Bulls loss, coming off that Atlanta loss, and then the performance in that first Nets game, my perspective was, this is going to be a reoccurring thing
Right,
where we might lose to opponents that we're not supposed to lose to. We might you know what I mean? Like this fourth quarter thing could be a potential problem for us. That's part of the other part of the whole Tibbs narrative, right? Like if you noticing that the fourth quarters are a problem for us, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be more. You're gonna be least likely to play these younger guys or the guys that you don't trust. Like Tibbs is really trying to win games. If the Knicks are not proving that we could keep a secure lead, you know what I mean, and give these guys rest because we're up by a certain digit, then how's you know what I mean? This should be expected. You know what I mean? Like, because the other side of that is, oh, you left these young guys in too long, or you left Brunson and Cat on the bench too long, or you know what I mean? And we blew the lead. So that's what I mean when I say turn the corner.
yeah.
I'm
No,
not
I
saying
understand.
that's what I'm saying. Not peaked as a team, but just got over that one hurdle that's been nagging us. The fourth quarter woes and you know what I mean, like not winning the games we were supposed to win. Last year, that was a staple of us from the beginning of the year. You know what I mean? Like even with the similar records where we were, that's
Hmm.
one thing we stood on was the teams we were supposed to beat, we beat, and then we played the other teams that you know what I mean tough. We played the teams the tier that we want to be in or we believe we're in. We played them tough. Those losses were by minimal points. So, but that's my question, just to clarify.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like I get you don't think it's a trap game, but do you think we turned the corner in that sense of beating the teams we're supposed to beat? And overcame this fourth quarter woes.
I think we kind of have, but not quite. Like so like what Kerry Cox said in the chat, if the Knicks, win in a
Pull it
close
up if
game.
you see it.
Oh, basically said if the Knicks win in a close game. So I mean, some people might say, well, we just did win in a close. No, no, not that type of close game where the Knicks should have won and
Mhm.
could have won easily. No, when we play an opponent where we know the matchup is a tough matchup. It don't have to be Boston or Cleveland or something like that. It could be Orlando. When we
Even the
play a
Cavs
team,
game
even
would,
yeah, but
would, would be
yeah,
an example of a
right.
team.
But
You
if
know what
we
I mean?
play
Like
another game like that where it's back and forth, and mistakes will determine whether who wins and loses. That's a game when we know, okay, they've cleaned it up. We're not making the dumb mistakes. We're playing smart basketball in the fourth quarter. That's when I know we've turned the corner. I haven't seen that yet. When we get there, then I'll be like, we turned the corner.
no doubt. Team Wizards is 2-9, and their only two wins is against the Atlanta Hawks who beat us.
Can't make this stuff up, bro.
So again, not the trap game in the sense that we just beat some big teams and our ego is up, but we are on another 2-game winning streak, and you know what I mean. We should not be looking ahead to the West Coast trip. We you know what I mean. let's take care of this business first.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Paris Duggar. Non-athletic fans only go by stats. Nerd fan though. I mean, I'm not athletic anymore. I can tell you that for sure. Those
I
days is
mean,
over.
back in my day, I was never athletic, so I can't, I can't. I just had height.
I didn't have height, but I could jump. Those days is
That
gone.
works.
Um, I think that's a wrap for today. Shoot, the game's in 12 minutes. So,
Hmm.
Ron, appreciate you jumping on with me.
Always.
Um, salute to the chat. I'll be on a post game show with Sim. Another losers lounge over there. Nothing but Knicks. Shout out to the Queen. You know what I mean? Salute to the Queen and the whole MBK fam. Still Knicks fans. Ron, John, Jose.
You know how we
Can't
do.
wait to see you. Until next time. Appreciate you guys, man. Your blackest time. We out.